Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome back to EVE Online. Today we're going to have a look at the different ships that you'll need to be able to fly to be in nullsec. So, some of the ships we're originally going to look out for are things you kind of just want to have out there. Something to start off with, they'll be really quick, relatively quick to train. You notice in nullsec, a lot of ships, they do small frigate roams. Frigates, you can fly them straight off the bat. We're going to use a Mar example today just because this isn't a Mar character. All the other examples follow really close with the 4 different races. Alright, so there is like small frigate roams. Those happen. Those are the little fun roams. Those really don't do a whole lot, except kind of be a nuance to everyone else. They do the same thing with like cruisers. It only takes like less than a day or two to be able to fly cruisers. You train frigates to 3, you train destroyers to 3, and then you train cruisers to 1. You can fly all the standard cruisers. Now, there's more specialized ships that require a lot more training that you will need to be able to fly. Now, these might not be you might not be able to fly this exact ship, but you need to be able to fly something in this category. Now, the category first one we're going to talk about is interceptors. Now, something I'm going to talk about a little bit about these interceptors is, if we go in here and we read about the malediction, the Crusaders up here as well, they have slightly differences, but we'll talk about the malediction. I see a little more of them in space. You can see the bonuses. They get a little bonus to armor, which is kind of a laugh that interceptors have a tank, because they're kind of just like, don't hit me. They fly around really fast and try not to get hit. Alright, a big thing the interceptors are known for, and one of the very few ships in the game that can do this, is where in nullsec there are interdiction sphere launchers. There are different bubbles that you can see that you cannot warp out of. Now, no amount of warp core stabilizers can help you there. Those do not affect that. That is if someone is targeting you and they jam your warp drive using warp drive scrambler or warp drive scrambler. I can speak English today, or a warp drive disruptor. That's what stabs are for, warp core stabilizers. Now, if you get into a bubble, you can have all the stabilizers you want. They don't affect that. The bubbles affect something else. Now, only if your interdiction nullified, and that's really kind of a term for strategic cruisers, they have a certain subsystem they can put on there. We'll talk about those here in a couple minutes. Those T3s with the interdiction nullified subsystem, or interceptors, the only ships that I know of that can warp through bubbles like they weren't there. All other ships get stuck in the bubbles and can't warp, or in the case of capital ships, can't jump either. So, what we're looking at is interceptors. Their role: they can move very quickly. They are not affected by bubbles, which are a big nuance in nullsec. They are designed to warp the second fastest of anything in the game. There is a faction shuttle that can outwarp them in speed. That is all that I know of attributes. Let's scroll this down. Ship warp speed, 8 AUs a second. They're quick. They're friggin' fast for subwarp, but they're fast in the ship warp speed at 8 AUs. Let's go just compare. Stop clicking on the wrong things. Alright, let's go compare them. It was malediction. Looks like an executioner is the same thing as malediction, pretty much. 5 AUs. Now, the idea behind interceptors, there's lots of strategies for them, but we're going to worry right now. We'll talk about later exactly what they're used for usually and such things, but right now we're going to talk about training for them. Now, this is going to come as a little bit of a shock. It is 3 weeks to be able to fly one of these things. EVE is a hurry up and wait concept in their skill training system, and it kind of makes sense because you can't, and it helps really, because this is a 20 million-isk ship, plus the fit, which is probably our 10-15. You're looking at 30, 35, even 40 or higher million-isk in a single little frigate. They're expensive. They take a long time to train for, but they're very good at what they do, and that's why that's why they're so expensive. Well, they're so expensive because they're harder to build, but that's why they take so much. CCP has set it up so they take longer to train for. Now, 2 big parts to this is evasive maneuvering 5. All the interceptors for all factions require the evasive maneuvering 5 skill and the interceptor skill. Now, for each separate faction, Caldari, Glante, Mimitar, they'll require their racial frigate skill to be to 5, which is going to take you from I have to do level 4 and 5. And almost every account, whenever you start it, will have frigates level 3, or level 2 or level 3. It'll take you about 10.5 to 11 days to train frigates level 5. This can be almost 2 weeks, between a week and a half and 2 weeks to train to frigate level 5. Takes a while. Like I said, these ships are very special. They do very special things, and they have great uses in nullsec. Interceptors are very fast. And that's what they do. They get there and they can stop someone. They are a tackling ship. We'll go over those a little bit later. Alright, so we have interceptors. Another major ship you're going to want to talk about is the covert ops ships. Specifically, we're going to leave the regular covert ops alone, and we're going to go talk about the stealth bombers. That is the Purifier, the Manticore, the Nemesis, and the Hound. Notice they're all second on here as well. That's kind of convenient. Anywho, we're going to talk about the Purifier. About the same, just a little bit longer. 2 days longer. It's because the electronic upgrade skill needs to be 5. Again, all the covert ops ships need electronic upgrades to 5, regardless of race and the covert ops skill, which really isn't too bad of a skill for a call quickly. 4 million ISK. Electronic upgrade should be nice and cheap. 100,000 ISK. Woo. And you should start with your frigate skill. Frigate level 5. Any of the advanced frigates, you're gonna need frigate level 5 in that race. Covert ops get a lovely trait. Another thing on there is cloak reactivation delays to 15 seconds. Cloaking, you're invisible. They can't scan you. They can't find you. All they can do is decloak you by getting within 2.5 kilometers of you. That's a lucky guess for the most part. And really, if you understand how to maneuver when you're cloaked around a system, they will not find you. It's relatively easy to not be found in a cloaky ship that's fitted with specifically a covert ops cloaking device. Now, the covert ops cloaking device, you can warp while cloaked. You can warp around and fly around the system and be cloaked the entire time. Other covert cloaking devices cannot do that. With normal cloaking devices, you're reduced to like 10% of your normal speed. Covert ops cloaks, you can do your full speed, your full 400 or 500 meters a second, whenever your little ship does, while cloaked. Regular covert ops, regular cloaks, you cannot. What am I thinking? Warp. You cannot warp while cloaked. You have to decloak in order to warp. The covert ops cloaking device, which can be fit on the covert ops ships, there's a couple other ships that can fit it. I believe the cruiser, the force recon ships can do that as well, and I think the black ops. We'll check that. Those are really expensive ships. We'll get to those. Anywho. So we have the covert ops ship. These are invisible. They also can fit torpedoes, which is like a battleship-sized gun on them, which is crazy. And yeah, sorry. Not only can they do that, but they can also fit a bomb launcher, and they are I do believe the only ship in the game that can fit the bomb launcher. Bombs are great fun. Let's scroll up and have a quick peek at them just so you guys can see this. Bombs. They do a silly amount of damage. They're also very expensive, running just over 1 million apiece. Electron bomb, omnidirectional pulse. You can read that if you want. They have an extremely high resist to their own damage. Now, running this out, the bomb. Well, I'm trying to think. The bomb has a certain size explosion radius. Now, you can't use it in Empire space. So this is nullsec. I think you can in lowsec. No, I don't think so. I think this is strictly nullsec that you can fire bombs. They fly at 3,000 meters a second. I mean, I can't remember if there's any skills that can change that. I think that's a constant. They explosion radius is 400 meters. They're not targeted. You can decloak, shoot the bomb, wait the 15 seconds, recloak. Usually you warp. We'll talk about doing bombing runs at another point in time. Get a little more detail so you guys can understand these. But they do 6,400 damage. And their area of effect radius is 15 kilometers. Awesome. So, that sucks for people. When bombs go off, you can put up to 8 in a formula. And like I said, we'll go on and talk about this when we do bombing runs. We're going to try to go ahead, and there's bombs for each damage type. We're going to go ahead and we're going to look at, instead of the covert ops and the interceptors we've already looked at, electronic attack frigates. They don't really get used. There is a use for them, but
you don't really see them a whole lot. I've never, in my experience, I've really ever had to, I've never trained electronic attack frigates. We've never been told to. There's never, no one cares. To my knowledge, again, there may be people out there who do use them. Go people. All right, we're going to look at assault frigates. These have multiple uses. There's kind of like little assault frigate roams that'll run around. They do a ridiculous amount of damage. They're a little tiny, like, bead of glass. It's kind of glass cannon they are. They're like a little tiny bead of glass with a rocket launcher. But if you shoot the bead of glass, it shatters. If you poke it with a stick, it shatters. But it'll sit there and shoot you with a rocket launcher until you shoot back or poke it with a stick. They are tiny, tiny glass cannons, but they do a lot of damage. You put them in a fleet together, and you put an electronic warfare ship on them. You put a tracking disruptor or something like that, so they can't hit. Make sure they can't hit the little ships, and make sure they can't get away. And these little ships will tear something apart. They do so much damage, they'll just blow everything to pieces. So, again, we're going to look at the requirements. These are kind of the skills you guys want to look out for. Eurasial Frigate 5 again. That's probably one of the first things you want to do. After you get your ISK set up, assuming you're doing missioning, or you're doing low sec stuff, using these ships somewhere out, maybe not necessarily the assault frigates, but like the covert ops or the interceptors, maybe more so. Maybe you could use the assault frigates too, especially if you're doing solo PvP. They're really good for attacking other frigates when you're flying around solo. Also, you could take out destroyers. I don't know about cruisers. Depends on your fit and their fit and exactly how you're engaging them. But look at that. This is 22 days. So, and like I said, my things are slightly different. I've been training this guy for a couple days, for more than a couple days, actually a couple weeks now. Not necessarily focusing towards getting to Tech 2 frigates, which is what these advanced frigates are, but we're kind of close. We're mostly vanilla in the way we've been training towards these. So you might see a slightly longer, maybe a day, maybe two, longer time. But right now we're looking at 22 days for assault frigates, which I'd probably put last on the list. Interceptors I'd probably put first to train towards. Either way, you can need a Mar Frigate 5, which will get you set up for all of these. For this, you want to look at Evasive Maneuvering 5, which is a necessity. It's a maneuvering skill. We'll take a quick peek at it. Get a 5% improved ship agility. So you accelerate faster, you warp faster, you'll turn around faster, agility. So those skills help. Now, other things to look forward in these, I mean, we'll be looking at Tech 2 guns later. We'll be looking at destroyers and cruisers probably in our next episode. There's battleships, there's battle cruisers that are Tech 2. There's lots of things you can be looking out for, and there's different battleships and so like the regular Tech 1 things that people use fairly regularly that make it fairly common for them to be used. We'll look into training for those and what we can do with those. So anyway, this has been our frigates look over for what kind of frigates you're going to want to fly in nullsec, and after you've kind of got your ISK train rolling to get some money made up for these, so you can get the skills and get the ships. These are something you're going to train after you get that going. So first, get your ISK down. Start making money, make a good man of it, and like train towards that for a while. We are still working on. We're running level 2 missions right now. We're getting somewhat close to level 3s. We'll see how soon that happens. I got a Mar Cruiser to 4. It's gonna be done here in just under a day. After that, I'm working on some power grid management and stuff, trying to make it so I can fit some bigger guns on some of my ships. So first, I'm focusing on the ISK, focusing on getting the money. Now, after this, I'm going to start training these skills to be able to fly these ships so I can fly them. I don't have any experience in them yet. I'm saying like this is my only account. I don't have other accounts I've played with and do have experience with some of these. But for this guy here, we don't have the experience yet with him. I mean, this is a person thing. This is your personal experience. We don't have that yet. We have never actually physically, well, not physically necessarily. We've never actually like clicked and controlled these ships before. We don't are familiar with how they maneuver and their fits and stuff yet. So we have to go look into those. And we'll talk about some of that stuff later, and we'll go over how to really use the interceptors, the bombers. We'll talk about bombing runs we're going to be using them with. The interceptors, and maybe some of the assault frigates too. So these are the kind of ships skills you want to go for. You want to go Racial Frigate 5. You want to get that done when you can. Evasive Maneuvering 5 to get the interceptors. You're going to want to be looking to, let's see, open all these up quick. Let's be a little quicker. You're going to want to be looking at electronic upgrades to 5. in order to get to your covert ops ships. And you're going to want to be looking at power grid management to 5 and mechanics to 5 to get the assault frigates. These are going to take a while to train. I mean, this is going to be like a month and a half to train. Month and a half to get these out. Because a lot of these on here is the racial frigate 5, which is 10.5 days. So it will only take me like 11 days to get to... once I get that, it'll take me 11 days to get assault frigates. It'll take me 11, 12 days to get to covert ops. And really pretty much the same for the Crusader. So get that racial frigate 5 is one of the first things you want to focus on. For training for your ships, just training your skills to go out to nullsec. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Please do subscribe to the channel. We've got more videos coming. Like I said, we're going to cover Tech 2 destroyers, we're going to cover Tech 2 cruisers, Tech 2 battle cruisers, Tech 2 battleships, and some of their uses and why you'd want to train for them. We're going to talk about different roles within Alliance. What do you want to do? The Alliance needs you to do something for them. They need you to help and fly a ship that is conductive towards what they're trying to accomplish. And there's different roles for different types of things they're trying to accomplish. So, and that doesn't necessarily just include PvP. PvP is a requirement. It's a core. You need to be able to do PvP to live in a nullsec alliance. You can also be a miner. You can be a manufacturer. You could do research. I mean, research is more of a high sec thing. Or you could rat. I mean, it's how you want to make your money. It's what you want to do in a nullsec, but you have to give something for your alliance. You have to be there for them. You have to help them. Be productive for them. Help them fight their wars. Help them keep your space. Help them get people kick the campers out of your space. People sit and camp in your space so you feel unsafe. Go kill them. That's what was part of what the Alliance does. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, please do subscribe. We have more videos coming. And you guys have a great rest of your day.